Hello. Today I want to talk to you about personal excellence. You know, how and why it is so important to continue to get better, no matter where we are, right? So you could be the Oscar winner, or you could be a student who's just starting in the career. No matter where in life we are, what actually gives us immense happiness, immense satisfaction, and immense progress is evolving. You know, and what does evolving really mean? It means, you know, you get better at what you're good at, but it also means you fix problems that are there in your life. And this is the background I come from. I come from a background of fixing problems for people. You know, problems like they met with an accident and got paralyzed, and doctors say they can't do anything. What do? How do you help that person to walk again? Or problems as simple as, I get angry. You know, you meet a father, he's a loving father, he has such a loving family, and he's such a good man. But then there's this 5 minutes of devil that comes out in him when he becomes angry. And then he beats his children, and then after that he feels bad. He feels miserable. He feels like I shouldn't be living. And then the next day, again the 5 minutes of the devil comes out. So today, the question I ask you is, if you or someone you know has a personal problem, one problem, that is kind of ruining your life, that's stopping you from evolving to the next level, what are the choices that we have? What choices do we have to overcome it? Let's say Alex. Alex is a brilliant student. He's studying in one of the top universities, and he has everything working for him, except for one thing, that when he goes in front of an interviewer, he starts stammering. And let's say for many months, he feels so caught, so nervous that he's not been able to secure a job. What choice, what reliable choice does Alex have today? Now, I want you to think about that really, because what happens is, Alex is trying his best. He's a bright student. He's very good at what he's doing. And then he has his peers, he has his friends who are telling him, Alex, don't be afraid. And he's saying, I'm trying. And then you have people telling him, Alex, it's all in your mind. Nonsense. It's never only in the mind. It's never only in the mind. When Alex is going there to that interview, his body is producing chemicals. Chemicals that are going to drive him nervous. And Alex doesn't have a choice. The moment he steps inside and he sees that person, his mind, his body, his consciousness, his unconsciousness, his neurology responds in a particular way, where from that moment onwards, Alex doesn't have a choice. So what is the point of telling Alex, Alex, don't be afraid, it's going to be okay? What are Alex's other choice? Other than his peers who motivate him, other than, you know, people who try to scare him saying, if you don't change, you won't get a job. What are Alex's other choices? As of today, to the best of my knowledge, there doesn't exist a solution for Alex that is reliable, that works consistently each time. So I'm in the business of producing change. Imagine a few years from now, Alex has access to an app on a mobile. He presses a button, and as soon as he presses this button, he meets with someone who's a specialist, who's trained on producing personal changes. Alex meets this man or woman, and in 45 minutes flat, Alex walks out of the room being a new man for the rest of his life. Which means he's not only feeling confident then, he's not only going and saying, yeah, I won't be afraid, but when he actually goes and meets the interviewer, his body is producing new chemicals. His body is producing new response. This is real change work, right? And And what I'm here today to share with you is that fortunately we are in this era where such technology is available. Maybe hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, if someone was born with a personal limitation, they have to say, this is who I am. And they have to live with it. They have to figure out other ways to handle life. But today, that is not the case. Today, we have access to technology that can change life. And it's not just Alex who has a fear of exams or an interview. It's all of us. We are all amazing at certain things. But then there are areas in our life where we need to evolve. Someone could be a scientist, a brilliant mind. But if he doesn't know how to talk, how to communicate his idea, there's an opportunity. Someone else could be an artist. But if he or she doesn't know how to work with a team together, there's an opportunity for improving. So how did I come to this? You know, I think I've been fortunate. I went through a series of events in my life that finally made me realize that change is possible, change is easy, change is necessary, and change has to be generative. The thing about good change work is that if you fix Alex, overcome this fear of interview, it is not only going to be about the interview. It is going to change his ecosystem around him. It's going to change everything around that. So what I'm going to share with you in today's talk is I'm going to share with you three things. By sharing my life story, I'm going to share with you the technology behind how do you make such quick, fast changes. The wisdom in how to use the technology. Because the technology, any technology, can be used for good, for bad. And the third thing I would also want to share is how today's tech enablement, you know, gears and your wearables and mobiles can actually take this technology to the masses. And I came across this book called Frogs into Princes. It was written by Dr. John Grinder and Richard Bandler, the founders of neuro-linguistic programming. And this book kind of, you know, it really explained what the title meant. Frogs into princes. How do you take a limitation and convert it into an advantage? So this is how my journey started, you know, as a change agent. When I was in high school, I was working with people in helping them understand maths, physics, and a variety of other things. And then by the time I finished college, I was consulting, you know, I was doing tech consultation. I was a tech guy. I do programming, computers. I was consulting for a few IT companies. I had published a couple of books that were circulated internationally. And I was working as a chief technology officer. A friend of mine, she's a singer, singer Megha. She was in this office and she invited me to one of her performances. So I go watch a performance and then a huge set of audience and then she's singing. But every time she, you know, she starts a new song and in between, she would go to one particular location on stage and she would look at the lyrics book. And after the performance, I looked at her and I said, what if you have the freedom to go anywhere in the stage and you don't have to be dependent on that lyrics book? She said, is it possible? I said, well, give it a shot. So I worked with her for 45 minutes. And the next day she had 10 new songs she had to perform in Music Academy. So she goes there and she performs. And for the first time in her life, without taking a lyrics book with her. And after a month, after 2 months, there are other things that start changing in her life. Because she's no longer so much focused on that lyrics, she's paying attention to other nuances of singing. So music directors start telling her, something has changed about you. You're now recording faster. You're bringing out more dynamics, more feel to the song. So she comes and tells me, you know, she says, if this change is so powerful, then why is it not available to more people? A lot of people ask me, wow, how did you do this? How in 45 minutes you could help her remember lyrics? It's an interesting question. But what I find more interesting is the other question. Why did I do that change for her? See, there are 100 things I could have worked with her. You know, she had 100 different things that that needed improvement. But then I knew that this one change, that particular change, is going to be generative. If we help her overcome that limitation, it's going to help her in many, 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 many ways. And that's what happened. After 2 months, her recording got better. She was able to record in new languages. See, this is the wisdom of change work. Sometimes there's this one thing that is so critical in our life, and we don't know what it is. But someone finds it out for you, and then you know it's important to change, evolve there, but you don't know how to change. And this is where neuro-linguistic programming comes in. The technology of how to bring about that particular change. See, in my own life, when I was in high school, I had one friend. I used to sit in the back bench and we used to discuss, if you take stone from Mars and put it on Earth, will it float or will it sink? And I remember this one girl, I was early to school and she was there alone. She said, Antano, if you continue to be this way, only these walls are going to be your friends. 2 years from then on, I was teaching the same subject to my classmates. It was physics. But then there were a group of people around and they were laughing and they were giggling. They found the ideas of physics inspiring. Now, if I had not made that choice, 15 years ago, I would have probably been doing something very important today, but nobody would know about it. See, it required evolution, personal change. When I was in high school, they told me that I was tone deaf. My teacher said, if you ever sing a song, it's a miracle. I said, no, I'm going to overcome that limitation. My friends told me, but Antano, you're not a singer. Focus on your strengths. I said, if I focus on my strengths, I will produce great results. But what about being alive? What about progress? What about evolving myself and not just what my company wants? And it is amazing because I worked on my tone deaf, limitation. I evolved past that, and surprise, it was not only about music. The ability to distinguish minor variations in sounds is a major work of what I do. It's part of how I know how the unconscious of the other person is thinking. But when I overcame that limitation, I had no clue it was going to help me professionally. I just thought I was doing it for fun. See, this is how it works. When we fix real problems in our life, real limitations that each of us have, it will help us in ways that we cannot imagine possible. It will help us to evolve in a variety of different ways. So people think what I do is motivation. No, far from that. I look at real problems and I solve them. So when I started working with people, when I worked with Harmony, when I did all of these things, I got a request from someone who was driving his car in the US, met with an accident. He was an IIT graduate. He's in the prime of his health, meets with an accident, and he goes through a C5 fracture, which means neck down, he can't move anything. They sent him back on an air ambulance. And his family asked me, Antano, can you do something? And I was, wait, help someone sleep? Yes. Get over fears, depression, phobias? Yes. 45 minutes. But paralysis? I don't know. But I had this humility to recognize that just because I didn't know doesn't mean it's impossible. And this guy has written to me. So I started connecting to everybody I could think of in the world. There are people with cancer, and the doctor said they would die tomorrow, and then there's a spontaneous remission. So I said, is there anybody in the world who knows how to help this young man? And I started connecting. I used to use all of the influence I had to connect, to see if something can be done for funny. And Dr. John Grinder, the founder of NLP, he got back to me. He said, well, if you're willing to work with him, I will mentor you. So I went through a journey again, 6 months, 1 year. I was supposed to be the best at NLP then, right? People come to me, 45 minutes, miracles happen. And then after 1 year of John, I realized I didn't know anything about this technology. See, this is how it led to it. This guy has now got his full-time job back. He's gone back to US. He's fully independent. After that, we've done hundreds of such miracles. But If everything that I shared with you today is an example of something, I think it's an example of just one thing, that at any stage in your life, there is always an opportunity to continue to evolve. Even when you think you're the best at it, or even when someone says that's not your strength, there is an opportunity to fix a personal limitation. And that is what excellence really means. Because no matter where you are today, what you can do consistently is only the average. You have a bar of excellence. And when you reach that bar of excellence, the bar of excellence is shifted again. And my proposal is the easiest way to reach excellence, your own excellence, from where you are right now, is identifying and really solving those problems. If there's a car that has a flat tire, you have to fix that flat tire before you can drive it forward. Just motivation, saying, go, look at the goal, is not enough. You need to know there's a flat tire. And that's the work we do. So, we are in an amazing world where when things from different fields come together, there is innovation. There is people from arts are getting into business. People in medicine are getting into artificial intelligence. You may be amazing at certain things. My message to you today is when you also start fixing things where you have limitations, you will look at possibilities that didn't present itself before. So with that, I wish you all the best and thank you.